You're with us on the newsroom. The Time magazine has labeled Prime Minister Narendra Modi as one of the 100 most influential people in the world. Now, that's not surprising, but what's surprising is that the person putting out the commendation is none other than American President Barack Obama. Modi made it to the Time magazine's list of 100 most influential people in its latest edition. His profile in the magazine has been written by American President Obama. It's a piece that endorses Prime Minister Modi's stature as a global leader. In the 166-word article, the US President refers to the Prime Minister as Narendra and calls him India's reformer-in-chief. Lauding his rise from a tea seller to Prime Minister, Obama praises Modi's 5-point work plan to reduce poverty, improve education, empower women, unleash India's economic potential, while confronting climate change. The American president also praised Modi for maintaining a balance between the ancient and the modern by firmly supporting yoga and dreaming of a digital India. I want to go across now live to New York. Joining us via Skype is Brian Walsh. He's the foreign editor of Time magazine. Mr. Walsh, this is quite a coup to get the American president to write this article on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Can you give us a sense of the thinking in the editorial board of the Time magazine when you got the American president to try and agree to this?
Well, at the Time 100 issue, we really try our best to pair the selectees we pick with equally, I think, important, equally significant writers to actually write about them. And really with the case of Prime Minister Modi, President Obama really came to our mind almost immediately. They clearly, in this early stage, have, I think, forged a strong relationship. I think they see, President Obama sees some similarity, sees some affiliation, I think, with Prime Minister Modi. So in the case of this, the White House was, fairly happy to write about this. It was something that I think, we really try, especially for our most important selections, to really find someone equally as important. I think that's definitely what we did here with President Obama.
Narendra Modi is one person who's been vilified a lot in India and more so abroad, where there's been a lot of negative commentary about his politics, his role in the Gujarat riots of 2002. Do you think this is some sort of a commendation, given the fact that the American president agreed to do this, and you say agreed quite readily? Do you sense that Prime Minister Modi's image globally is changing?
I think it's a sign, really, that here in the United States, President Obama sees Prime Minister Modi as a potential partner. He mentioned Prime Minister Modi's work on climate change, and that's something that going forward to the big UN climate summit at the end of the year, I think is going to be very important. When it comes to the president here in the United States, he's obviously entering the last years of his time in office, and really, he's met a lot of world leaders, and I think the fact, again, that he would write about this shows that, he knows how important the U.S.-India relationship really is and will be going forward even once he's no longer in office. And again, I think with Prime Minister Modi, he's seen someone who, for whatever criticism he faces at home and sometimes abroad, is someone I think he is willing to try to work with as much as possible, whether it's something in terms of geopolitics or it's really with the economic relationship between the U.S. and India as well.
Now, the American president calls Narendra Modi India's reformer-in-chief. There's been a lot of commentary in the Indian media coming from Indian companies where people feel that Modi is not doing enough to go out and reform the economy in the way that he promised before the elections. Where does Time magazine get this idea from of calling Narendra Modi India's reformer-in-chief? Do you think he's done enough to actually deserve that title?
Well, I think he's still in the early stages of his time in office, and I think certainly, he may not have really fulfilled the expectations people had for him, but of course, those expectations both in India and really abroad were very high. I think we'll see, actually. At this point, he's someone who came in with a reform plan, has been able to implement it, hasn't fully yet, clearly. And I think at the same time, President Obama would know as someone who also came in to the White House with a very ambitious reform plan, not able to achieve all of it. So I think he's looking at it as someone who has that intention, and both President Obama and the rest of us here in the U.S. and around the world will be looking in the future to see how Prime Minister Modi does, whether he really is ultimately able to fulfill that promise and those expectations that greeted his election.
Okay, Brian Walsh, I'm going to leave it over there. Thank you very much for joining us on the newsroom. The foreign editor of Time magazine explaining the rationale behind asking President Obama to write about Narendra Modi, which a magazine can do. But what's interesting is that the White House agreed to do so, wrote rather fulsome praise of the Prime Minister, calling him India's reformer-in-chief. Well, he wants to be India's reformer-in-chief, but we'd still like to see the wheel of reform move fast.